The Pittsburgh Penguins are finally open for sale. It was just announced the Pittsburgh Penguins have traded Lars Eller to the Washington Capitals for a 2027 third-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Last night was the horrendous Dallas Stars game where the Penguins were down 6-0 after the very first period of the game, and it looked horrible. That was hands down one of the worst periods of hockey I've ever watched in my life. I really liked Lars Eller. I even had the chance to meet him earlier this spring, and he seems like an amazing guy, and he played amazingly for the Penguins. He was exactly what they needed to be for a third-line center, and he really stepped up to everything they wanted, and he had some really amazing snipes during his time here. I wish him all the best in Washington, but I bet he'll find success there because that was where he was when he won the Stanley Cup in 2018 with the Capitals, so I bet he'll find that chemistry again, and they'll be pretty good. Now back to the Penguins. Kyle Dubas has some serious work on his hands after last night and the beginning of the season where the Penguins have been a pretty big dumpster fire through and through. Just when you think this team is starting to get it together, they put together an amazing win against the Washington Capitals, and then they lay an absolute stinker against the Dallas Stars. This team is in need of some serious change, and it seems like we might actually be getting some here. Last night, after the horrible Dallas game, Taylor Haas of DK Pittsburgh Sports put out an article saying that every Penguin on the roster, except for Sidney Crosby, is up for sale right now. I'll link to her article in the description of this video. I really want you to go check it out. It's an amazing article, and she did some amazing work on it. And at this point, I think that's what the Penguins need. They need a serious shakeup and just need to embrace what they are. They need to rebuild. They need to retool, get younger, do everything they can. Basically what the Washington Capitals have done over the past couple seasons is what they needed to do. But because they kept so much of the core together and didn't build just around Sidney Crosby, it's been majorly slowed down, and now they're in the problem that they are now. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't trade any of the team success that they had over the last 20 years for this, but this is the predicament they put themselves in, and this is the predicament they're going to have to get themselves out of. I really do think that the Penguins are going to be making more moves soon. I don't know how soon, but I would almost guarantee that there will be at least another one before the end of December, and maybe some coaching changes. Now let's dissect the trade a little bit. The Penguins got some future draft capital back, which I don't think the Penguins are going to end up keeping all the draft capital that they currently have. They currently have 10 picks in the 2025 NHL draft, and I don't see them keeping them all. I bet you any money but before the end of the season that they're going to acquire some younger players with those draft picks instead of drafting players with them. I could see them keeping the 2027 third-round pick, because that has potential to be closer to a second-round pick, just with the way that the Capitals, and I think that pick was the one that became from the Blackhawks in the first place. But what are the Washington Capitals getting? Sure, Lars Eller is a lot older than he was the first time he was in Washington, but he's still a pretty good player for what he is. He probably shouldn't be a third-line center and should probably be around the fourth line for the Capitals, but he's an amazing leader in the locker room, and he does provide some offensive instinct. He was one of the only bright spots in the bottom six last year for the Penguins that were actually producing points. He may not have the elite speed of some of the younger players in the league, but he still does a lot of things very well, and he'll be a very good addition to a Capitals team that has a lot of young players and could always use some more veteran leadership. I think this is a pretty good trade for the Penguins and the Capitals. The Penguins get what they need in draft picks and to clear up a roster spot for a younger player, and the Capitals get some more reassurance up the center, and that's never a bad thing to have whenever you're committed to your team. Let me know your thoughts on this trade in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe if you want to stay up to date with everything that happens in the NHL. I make shorts every single day detailing the news of what happens around the league. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.